Hello, Mr. Hardy here, and in this video I would like to teach you about metaphors. So, what is a metaphor? A metaphor is when you suggest one thing is another thing. So you've got two objects and you're drawing a comparison or a point of similarity between the two. Some keywords to look out for when you're spotting metaphors in other people's writing and when you're trying to use metaphors in your own writing are is, are, was, and were. For example, my brother is a lion. This would be a present tense singular example. One brother, one lion. My brother is a lion. You could also have my brother was a lion. This would be a past tense singular example. So the insinuation is my brother has sadly died, and in his memory I'm saying he was a lion. Third example, my brothers are lions. This is what we'd call a present tense plural example. So there's multiple brothers and multiple lions. And the final example is my brothers were lions. Again, past tense and plural. So it's insinuating that my brothers are dead. And this is sort of done in their memory. So is for present tense singular, was is past tense singular, are is present tense plural, and were can be used for past tense plural. However, these aren't the only ways to express a metaphor. You can express a metaphor saying I am something, or she or he has something. So you can have metaphors that don't use is, are, was, and were. But when you're reading other people's work and when you're trying to use metaphors in your work, and these four words are easy and obvious examples to spot and to use. So speaking of spotting metaphors, can you find the four metaphors I've included in this paragraph? My brother is very annoying. He is a total night owl and always plays his music loud at 3 a.m. Unbelievably, in the daytime, he's even worse. He is a couch potato, the laziest person I know. Yet according to my mum, he is the apple of her eye, and my dad says that he has a heart of gold. I just don't see it. As far as I'm concerned, my brother is the worst. So maybe you spotted the metaphor he is a total night owl, comparing my brother to a night owl using is. Maybe you got he is a couch potato, again comparing my brother to a couch potato using is. The third example, he is the apple of her eye. If you're the apple of someone's eye, someone thinks you're the best, you're the most special. So comparing my brother to an apple, and he has a heart of gold. I included this to show you that this is still a metaphor, even though it doesn't have the keywords is, are, was, and were. Instead it has, and it's comparing my brother's heart to gold. So hopefully you were able to spot those four metaphors. Okay, some tips for how to write good metaphors. You want to avoid obvious comparisons. So for example, this metaphor, the ocean is a swimming pool for fish. Whilst it is a metaphor, it compares the ocean to a swimming pool using is. It is a bit obvious, isn't it? You know, that the ocean is a big volume of water. A swimming pool is a big volume of water. You're basically saying one big volume of water is another big volume of water. That is pretty obvious. It's nothing creative. It doesn't add anything. Instead, what you want to do is you want to try comparing two unlikely and usual things in a thoughtful way. For example, the fog was grey wrapping paper enclosing every building in the town. That's a lot more clever. Who would have thought that you could compare fog, which is a type of weather, to wrapping paper that you normally have on Christmases and birthdays? And if you think about it, it is quite clever because fog sort of covers everything. For example, it will cover a car, in front of the car, behind it, above it, below it. A bit like how a wrapping paper might cover a gift, in front, behind, above, below. This is actually a much more clever metaphor, and it compares two unlikely objects. Okay, some more tips for good metaphors. You can use metaphors to make something quite complex and complicated simple for your reader. In the same way, if you've had an experience that you don't think your reader would have had, it's not a common experience, you can use a metaphor to make something unknown to your reader knowable, relatable. And maybe you're writing about quite a boring topic, but you're trying to make it more exciting and interesting. Metaphors are a great way to draw interesting comparisons. For example, life is a roller coaster. There are ups, downs, thrills, and fears. Maybe as an adult, I'm trying to teach a child, someone younger than me, about life. And it's quite complex life. There's loads of different things that could happen, good things, bad things, scary things, exciting things, which maybe a child won't understand. So by using the metaphor of roller coaster, I'm taking something quite complex, life, and I'm making it quite simple to understand in a roller coaster. In the same way, a young child might not know much about, the difficulties and enjoyments of adult life, but the young child might know about going to a theme park and riding a roller coaster. So it makes this concept of life, this abstract, difficult idea, it compares it with a concrete noun, something the child can relate to, and it makes this more understandable. In the same way, a young child might find the concept of life quite boring, wake up every morning, eat breakfast, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed. Whereas a young child might find a roller coaster much more exciting and engaging. So by using this metaphor, I can take a boring topic and make it more interesting for my audience. And another tip for metaphors is you want to try and avoid cliches. Cliches are phrases that have been overused throughout history. Instead, you want to put your own creative flair on your metaphors. So, for example, life is a journey is a very common metaphor. I think it can actually be dated back to like the 1920s or something. So it's been around for 100 years. Instead of saying life is a journey, why don't you compare it to something else, something more creative? So I've gone for life is a garden. If you put the effort to clear the weeds, you will be rewarded with flowers. So again, it's a bit more creative, it's a bit more unusual, it's more unique. So we have a type of metaphor called an extended metaphor. And an extended metaphor is when you have your same two objects, but you find multiple points of comparison between the two things. So let's return to this idea of my brother being a lion. My brother is a lion. He defends his opinions with a mighty roar. He hunts down his goals until he achieves them. He is the pride of our family. So the first metaphor compares my brother to a lion using is. And then I extend that. I thought to myself, what else do lions do? Well, they roar. So I'm comparing my brother's speaking ability, his opinions, with a lion's roar. And then I think, what else do lions do? Well, lions have to hunt down their food. So what could my brother hunt down? Well, my brother likes to hunt down his goals and achieve them. And so I'm drawing another point of comparison between a lion hunting for, a springbok or whatever lions eat, and my brother hunting down his goals in life. Actually, the more I think about it, that's probably a bad comparison, because I'm pretty sure in lions it's the females who do the hunting. But I might be wrong about that. I'm not an expert on animals. And finally, at the end, he is the pride of our family. I'm sort of doing a play on words here, which has a metaphorical nature. So a pride is the collective noun for multiple lions, and saying that our family is very proud of my brother. So here I've taken this metaphor of my brother being a lion, and I've looked for different aspects, maybe the sound and the roar, maybe the hunting, and maybe the collective noun pride. So that is an extended metaphor. That's a very advanced thing to do. So I would like you to practice some metaphor use. So task 1, I want you to write 4 metaphors comparing a cloud to another object using is, was, are, and were. If you're lazy, you would use the same object. So you would say the cloud is a pillow, the cloud was a pillow, the clouds are pillows, the clouds were pillows. But if you want to be more creative, you would find 4 separate objects to compare the cloud to. Task 2, I've written a very obvious metaphor. The mountain is a very large rock. Yes, well done, Sherlock. Mountains tend to be large rocks. So could you do something more creative with it? The mountain is an enormous guardian overlooking the villages below, something a bit more unique. Task 3, I've got a very cliched metaphor. Time is a thief. This phrase has been used for many years, probably hundreds of years, comparing time to a thief. Can you change what you're comparing time to? Maybe time is a guitar. Sometimes it plays quickly, sometimes it plays slowly, sometimes it plays happily, sometimes it plays sadly. I don't know, something a bit more creative. Task 4, I'd like you to write an extended metaphor about yourself. So you can start it off with I am, and then you think of an object. I am a cup, and then you think of all the comparisons you can have between yourself and a cup. I am a cup. I can be filled with happiness or sadness. I am a cup. I like to be held in the hands of others. What else can happen to cups? I am a cup. If you drop me from a great height, I will shatter. And then you can find different ways to compare yourself to that object. And the final task, task 5, I'd like you to write a paragraph describing a city setting using 2 metaphors. So maybe you want to say that the skyscrapers are giant swords erupting from the earth. Or you might want to say the lights are a million diamonds sparkling in the night. I don't know. Find some creative metaphors to describe a city setting. Okay, so if you found this video useful to your understanding and practice of metaphors, please give it a like. Please also subscribe to my Mr. Hardy YouTube channel so you get all the updates for our creative writing technique series that I'll be going through. And finally, if you would like to leave a comment sharing maybe some of the metaphors you've written, I'd love to give them a read if you're comfortable doing that. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and I'll see you on the next one.